we would be able to offer summer employment. So through their coaches, we would match up their individuals with county professionals and allow them to work at the summertime. We would be able to fund this through our summer youth program. And the gentleman who has met with us and who administers this program by the name of James Church, fantastic gentleman, very knowledgeable, and said that this has really been an amazing opportunity to look at future opportunities within these employers. We would be the first municipality that they've approached in order to try to get this in. This is traditionally a private entity company that these come in, and we do have several that have had this opportunity before and have reaped the successes of this program. So we would be able to do something like hopefully our first year, offer potentially three individuals. They were looking at $17 an hour for people for this program. And we have negotiated with our union that we would be able to offer a stipend to the individuals who are county employee professionals to be able to mentor these people. So it's a great opportunity for our staff to show what we have, what we're great at, but more importantly, it's a really fantastic opportunity to take these young kids in between their junior and senior years, bring them into the county and show them what a professional and what an opportunity employment within county is. So I'm very excited about this. And as I mentioned, I kind of went through my budget. I carved out part of that in order to be able to fund that. And then we would still be able to do our traditional summer youth program. As we're paying this for $17 an hour, we would increase our traditional summer youth up to $17 an hour as well. Without increasing the allocation, that then lessens the number of opportunities. So traditionally, some of you supervisors who have done this a couple of times, we used to have 23 positions. If we're going to offer 17 an hour and fund this other program, we would knock that down to 12 positions. Now, considering the last couple of years that we really haven't been able to find people with these positions because we were doing $13.50 an hour last year, we're looking to rebuild this program as well. So it's a really great opportunity to get, some potentially new employees. I love every time we have someone who graduates from this program and then comes back and becomes a full-time employee for the county. So we're hoping that we can really start to expand this in some of the other areas that the county has as well. So any questions?
Just a suggestion, maybe after the Skilling the Gap conference and presentation, maybe there's a way to change some of the criteria of needing to be enrolled in college to apply for the county position, because I think that if it was open to 11th and 12th graders who are not a participant of Questar, we probably see a lot more people applying.
So the 11th and 12th grader, that's the actual criteria that comes to Questar. That is nothing that we have any opportunity to look at. That is their program. Okay.
Right, but as a county, like if we could employ like juniors, you're not going to be enrolled in college yet, but I think that there are juniors who would apply for the positions. And I'm thinking Hudson just recently launched this Blue Hawk Academy, which is looking to link kids up with mentors. They are the second half of high school, and they're looking for opportunities and trades that might not be offered at Questar.
Sure. Traditionally, what happens is under OSHA, it's 18 and above. So we do not employ in our summer youth program anyone under the age of 18.
Okay.
So that was the first question I asked Mr. Church when he came in, was how are we able to do that? And they actually provided information that was attached to my resolution request, that due to the classification of how they are as this school program, they are not subject to all of the federal and state regulations that we would be as an employer. So they're able to offer this opportunity, something that we might not be able to do. But I certainly appreciate the suggestion, and I'm always open to see what we can do. Thank you.
So just a summary in a KISS manner. So before we had the summer youth employment, 23 positions at $13.50 an hour. Now we're talking about 12 positions for that same program, but increasing to 17 an hour and then adding in 3 apprentice positions at the same 17 an hour through Questar. The summer youth employment has to be college students. 3 apprentice has to be juniors or seniors that are already in Questar.
Yes, they're 2 completely separate programs. The Questar component to a youth apprenticeship program, is done completely through Questar. Those youth that are coming through that program have already signed up. They signed contracts actually with Questar. That's what they're going to do, because they are not just committing to that part, they're actually going into their senior year, that they'll be doing all of that as well. So we're really acting as a vehicle for just the shadowing and the employment portion of it. The rest of it is all, the rest of it is all done completely through Questar.
So two more questions. If there's only 15 total,
Mhm.
how do we decide what towns? Is there some lottery? Is there
Yes,
some
yes.
raffle? Because to me, actually, the junior senior apprenticeship program is more appealing.
Mhm.
So like, does each town get a turn every 5
No.
10 years?
No, so they're two completely separate programs. We have nothing, you guys have nothing to do with the three. And
We
I'm
don't
just,
select them. Questar selects
no,
them.
right, that's completely done through Questar. Those kids they apply to them, they vet them, they bring them to us and say, hey, this is what this youth is here, they're here for welding, and you provide a welding opportunity.
And then for
Okay?
the 12, how do we
And then for the
decide?
12, as we put in the bylaws, what we would like to do is, we are going to have, there always was a set date that people were supposed to apply by. So by April 28th, everyone sends in their applications as to who they would want, and then we'll actually have a lottery system for the 12 positions and call them ahead of time and let them know, okay, you were one of the 12 that were selected.
Or we
So-
might only get 12 and then not get.
And
Like-
I see it both ways, because there's a part of me that's considering the 3 applicants that we had last year. You know, I would love to see all 12 be gainfully employed, but I would be lying if I didn't say that I'd love to see 40 applications come in. So, but it would be a cap of 23, so let's say
And we're
23.
talking about this year for the Questar program.
Yes, that would be the summer, yeah.
Michael's only talking about at a county level. Your town could talk to Mr. Church and join this too. They're actually gonna be, as they see the amount of kids that are willing and eligible, they're gonna be reaching out to private.
So like our highway
Public-
department could take an apprentice in.
And they're
So-
looking to do that because
Can you
they,
send me his contact?
absolutely, yeah, he's a really, really nice guy.
So it's not limited to 3. It's gonna be a big program for them. Counties talking about accepting 3.
And not to put you on the spot, but you've engaged in this program and
Yes.
and have had a very favorable
Very,
response.
very good.
Correct, yeah.
Simmons
Sorry,
Automotive
okay.
started 3 years.
Awesome.
Yeah, they also have a regular, you just, they're just not picking anything. They're making sure that whoever they pick meets certain requirements, and they're gonna follow suit, make sure that they show up and that they're, so it's a good program.
Right, so I'm sorry to present them both at the same time, because I don't want to confuse anyone. The Questar piece is completely separate. It's just when they approached us about doing this, where would the money come from? Because again, the county would be paying. So we suggested, why don't we take a portion of it out of summer youth? We can try it and see how it works out. But listening to him and how, exactly reviews like this one, it's definitely working the best one.
Awesome.
Does anyone else have any questions? If not, you certainly know how to get hold of me.
Thank you,
Okay.
Michael.
All right, thank you
Thank
all
you,
very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, Bill Better, to talk about the 250th anniversary update.
I'm Bill Better. I'm suffering from a little cold, so if I clear my throat a few times, bear with me. I was told explicitly that I had 10 minutes and 10 minutes only. And that's very difficult for me, but I'll try to adhere to that. I'm here tonight to talk about the 250th anniversary. In 2026, our nation will celebrate its 250th birthday. Looking around this room, many of us, and I include myself, will remember the year 1976 when we celebrated 200 years of an anniversary. And the celebration that took place throughout this nation was something to remember. Well, it's 50 years later, and it's time for the next party and celebration. I look at this, and first off, I want to take a moment and thank you, the Board of Supervisors, for your support in the Historian's Office. You have assisted us in providing assistance from a financial standpoint to work towards this anniversary, and what you've also done for us. And I'll be happy to come and explain it. I've explained it to the county government. I'd love to come and tell the whole Board of Supervisors. You have given us the help of Sherry Franks and Don Meltz. And what those folks have done for the historian website and historic sites website in the County of Columbia, you cannot overstate. So I really appreciate Sherry and Don. It's been a tremendous godsend for what has been accomplished so far. We have a 250th anniversary committee There are a number of historians, people such as representatives such as the Chamber of Commerce, the Columbia County Historic Society, and 4 supervisors, Supervisor Ooms, Knott, Stats, and Adams are the supervisor representatives on that, and of course, welcome anybody that wishes to participate. We have met in February, and we will be meeting again in March. Probably continue to meet for another month or 2 on a regular basis, and then we have a series of subcommittees that will be dividing up the different components of this anniversary celebration. There are all types of things being considered and being undertaken. And first, let me tell you just first another thing. What is the role of Columbia County in the American Revolution? There are 3,143 counties in the United States of America. We are but one. There are roughly 63,000 people in this county. There are 330 million in this nation. I was never a math wizard, but that mathematically is something like we represent 1/3 of 1% of the American population. Yet we have a nation, a county that is filled with history relating to this country, not just the American Revolution, but throughout its, from the beginning of Columbia County to today. As it relates to the American Revolution, we have a signer of the Declaration of Independence. We have one of the authors of the Declaration of Independence. There's a scholarly debate about it, but some folks maintain that the links that kept the British from coming up the Hudson River were made in Akron. Others say Copiague, others say New Jersey. But that's the thing about history. There's usually a debate. But in Akron, in 1740, was the first blast furnace in America. There are a number of things that this county was involved in. And in my opinion, we have not celebrated that enough. My job as historian is to try and celebrate that more. I look at this 250th anniversary as having 2 components. One is celebratory. July 4th, 2026 is the day of the anniversary. It's the birthday. The other part, in my mind, is reflective. Everybody knows who won the American Revolution. But there were a lot of things about the American Revolution that aren't examined, talked about, or experienced. And some of them are involved right here in Columbia County. There was, as in most places in America at that time, there was a large population of folks that were loyalists. Well, what happened to them? How did they fare? And you will hear stories between now and the end of this celebration, which will go on many years past 2026, about what happened to some of the folks that didn't side with the revolutionary patriots, the people that were loyal to the crown. Many of them left this county. It caused rifts in families. It caused violence between people. That is something that isn't really discussed. There are the roles of Native Americans, people of color, and women. I am privileged to be the descendant of a man who fought in the American Revolution. He was a farmer, a tenant farmer on the Claremont estate of the Livingstons. When he was called up to do his active duty, you know who tended his farm? His wife and kids. When he was wounded and eventually died as a result of what happened to him in the American Revolution, you know who took over? His wife and children. People don't talk about that. Supervisor Adams noted, you will see at that time widows were allowed to own land in the state of New York. You'll see a large number of women who own property. The reason they were able to own property, they were widows. That is not something that is explored, something that is experienced. So those are the types of things that we're doing. We have an active publication program. Historian Tom Moreland from the town of Austerlitz. Where's Robbie? He's aces. He's writing a book on what was going on in Columbia County at the time of the Revolution. All of the historians, myself included, will provide information about it. We have, with the help of this chamber, started to prepare public school curriculum that we will be dispensing to the different public school districts in this county. We have a rough outline for Ichabod Crane, Germantown, the two historians from Canaan and New Lebanon have done a magnificent job. They're both retired school teachers to come up with the curriculum for their geographic area. Our goal is to have the kids in this county, and local history is studied in the 4th, 7th, and 11th grade, to learn exactly what happened in their own backyard. Something that is important. Something that's very important to understand. Obviously, we're talking about social media presence, Facebook, all the different things that we're going to have. Marketing and branding is something we're working on, coming up with a logo that we will recommend to you folks. A parade, fireworks, all the types of things that you would expect with this type of celebration. We are doing this several years in advance because it takes that long to plan for. The other reason I'm here tonight is to encourage all of you, all the town supervisors and the supervisors from the city of Hudson, to please go back to your community and get this process going. We need to coordinate this. Think, for example, there are 18 towns, 4 villages, and 1 city. I don't know how to turn my phone. How many 4th of July parades can you have in your community on the 4th of July in 2026? 23? I'm not sure that's really practical. So one of the things we talked about is, should we all get together and have really a big countywide celebration? Should we still, not to try and take away from local communities to have their own celebrations, but find a way to coordinate it so we're not duplicating efforts and we're not stumbling over them. The only way, in my opinion, to do that is to get out in front of that in advance. So I hope you come away with this message. Please go back to your town. You will all have historians, or should have historians. The town of Chatham just lost theirs. Dick Dorsey was a great man. I've known him for years, and he passed away on Saturday. But it's really necessary to have your home committee, have a committee in your town, committee in the villages, committee in the city of Hudson, start to work on this. And we're happy to do whatever we can to help. And if anybody wishes to participate in this committee, please let me know. Sherry Franks is happy to set all these meetings up. And in fact, we're having another meeting in about 2 weeks. So I really would like it if the towns could start to get organized about this, because we don't want to start to step on people's toes about when we start to organize and set things up. Does anyone have any questions? Very well then. Did I say in 10 minutes or not?
You did good.
I did all right? Okay.
What?
You have the time. You have the time, right? I think it's kind of like the Gone Show for those old enough in the room that they can run. Go. They're not for me.
Will, yeah. I feel already see that.
Okay, we're gonna move forward.
Yeah, just,
Okay, next we have some proclamations. First, I'd like to ask Supervisor Hoagland to come up and read the proclamation about National Women's History Month.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman's Proclamation 2023 National Women's History Month, celebrating women who tell our stories. Whereas March 2023 is National Women's History Month, and the theme is celebrating women who tell our stories. And whereas in our current environment of media and truth wars, the curtailing of citizens and human rights in some populations, record high inflation, food and health insecurity, shortages in medicines and building materials and consumer goods, job losses and financial insecurity, women continue to be our storytellers in print, on television, and radio, and through artistic expression both on stage and online. And whereas women have served a major role in combating misinformation and documenting the human condition, thus serving the needs of the population of the United States. And whereas, in this year particularly, we are reminded of the importance of those who pursue truth and give voice to that which would otherwise go unheard or unseen, who help to promote and sustain the future, many of whom are women. Of particular note in Columbia County, we honor Edna St. Vincent, a lyrical poet and playwright, Virginia Ann Catherine Cairns Callan, Associate Director of the Women's Unit of the State of New York under Governor Rockefeller, Muriel K. Gibbons, a local reporter and public relations professional, Joan K. Davidson, the guiding force of Furthermore, Vicki Simons, publisher of the twice weekly independent newspaper, Edith Ruth Kawanta, noted author of local history, and Carol Osterink, blogger for Gossips of Rivertown on Blogspot. Now therefore be it resolved, therefore it is proclaimed that in recognition of women throughout the ages as storytellers and truth tellers, the Columbia County Board of Supervisors adopts this resolution in recognition of March 2023 as National Women's History Month and recognizes the vital and continued service of women who have served as storytellers locally, nationally, and internationally. Given under my hand and the privy seal of the County of Columbia at the Supervisors Chambers in Hudson, New York, this 8th day of March in the year of our Lord 2023, Matt B. Murrell, Chairman, Columbia Board of Supervisors.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Supervisor Helsley. He's going to read a proclamation regarding Fair Housing Month.
Thank you, Chairman. Whereas the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, under the Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, as amended, administering all programs and activities relating to housing and community development in a manner to affirmatively further fair housing, and Executive Order 11063 on equal opportunity in housing and non-discrimination in the sale or rental of housing built with federal assistance, and the Columbia Fair Housing Plan states further the long-term goal to assure that any person can obtain housing within their economic means in the County of Columbia, regardless of his or her race, religion, sex, national origin, marital status, or physical handicap. And whereas the Columbia Fair Housing Office works diligently to educate the public about fair housing laws and the opportunities afforded them regardless of race, religion, sex, national origin, marital status, or physical handicap. In doing so, they are enabling those who might not otherwise have the opportunity to dream of being a homeowner and the pride and self-esteem that comes with it. Now, therefore, be it resolved that all Columbia County residents are urged to learn more about fair housing practices, and be it further resolved that I, Matt B. Murrell, Chairman of the Columbia County Board of Supervisors, do hereby declare the month of April as Fair Housing Month in Columbia County.
Thank you. I'd like to have Mr. Fisher, our Fair Housing Officer, come up and receive the proclamation.
This is always a real special time for me to come and accept this proclamation because it does reaffirm and confirm our county's commitment to fair housing. And it also coincides with National Fair Housing, which will also be celebrated in the month of April. It's the month of April because it was in 1968 when President Lyndon B. Johnson signed this act into legislation. And so I'm very pleased that our county protects our residents when it comes to fair housing, and that we also join with our nation in this fair housing celebration. Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to request the clerk read the resolutions.
Resolution 87 of 2023 to 114 of 2023 by Supervisor Holtman.
Mr. Chairman, I offer these resolutions for adoption.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 115 of 2023 through 136 of 2023 by Supervisor Hunt.
Mr. Chairman, I offer these resolutions for adoption. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That's it.
Yeah.
Do any supervisors have any business to bring to the board? Supervisor Collins.
Well, just comment on the proclamations. I don't see why every month shouldn't be Women's History Month.
Yeah.
We're all here because of our mothers, right?
Chairman?
Yep.
I'd just like to thank the Board of Supervisors. It's a full house tonight, a full board, and it was a unanimous vote, and I will tell the people in Quebec tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other supervisors? Okay, we do have one board appointment. I'm going to add Robert Lagonia to the Space Utilization Committee.
Thank you.
And next, we need a motion to go into executive session to talk about litigation.
Move it.
Second.
The motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay, before I adjourn, Mike, do you have anything for us or?
No, good evening. We have, been very busy. Chris Brown, our new affordable housing coordinator, has been working very diligently. He's met with everyone who, the chairman appointed to the task force, as well as the members of the advisory committees. And we're also continuing to work on broadband. We're very grateful to the county and the planning office, and particularly Don Melt in helping us do the FCC challenge. We did have a call, a regional call coordinated by Capital District Regional Planning Commission with the 8 other counties in the region on broadband with the new director of the state broadband office. They were very impressed with the depth of data that we've collected here. I reminded them that when you have 30,000 addresses, it's a lot easier to do that than 180 in Albany County. But nonetheless, they thought we were fairly far ahead. We are working with New Lebanon and Canaan, and the Ghent and Austerlitz projects are moving forward independently. But once those 340 addresses are served, and Consolidated has to do 100 addresses in Chatham because of a commitment they've made with PSC, we'll be down to about 700 addresses, down from 5,000 5 years ago. The state says that the money will start to run in late summer, early fall. And so we are talking now with the providers. Could you do what Consolidated in Mid-Hudson did in the 4 towns by taking the 700 addresses that are left and give us a price, so that you almost do a reverse auction when the money flows to those providers, and they'll already have engineering work and preliminary design work and pricing to be able to do those addresses first. We're focused on filling the donut holes. I think there are other companies who are interested in coming to expand service and backbone to compete. I think that's a positive sign, but I think I conveyed to them that our goal right now is to fill the donut holes, and we don't want to get into competition with the other 3 providers while we're committing to a program with any one of the providers. We're doing a lot of other things. We do $4 million of loans in the last 8 years to 167 small businesses, and we only had $150,000 of write-off out of $4 million. A small bank would be happy with those. We're very excited that Kinderhook was selected for the mini DRI. I know Copake was in the mix as well, and we're continuing to see Columbia County receive significant funding from the state for various programs, and we won't give up, and we'll get back in the game with Copake and other communities as we go forward. Are there any specific questions or concerns that any of the supervisors have?
It's not a concern, but just a thank you, because Chris Brown came out to a little meeting we had down in Chatham, as did Supervisor Adams. So thank you very much for allowing Chris to participate in the small municipal gatherings.
Well, we appreciate it. And Jessica had to leave, but Columbia Forward is going well. I know there's a handful of supervisors she hasn't had the opportunity to meet one-on-one with, but I guess she was in Germantown.
She was in Germantown, yes.
The other night, and we want to repeat those programs. So you'll either be getting a second or third call from her, or you'll be getting a little pressure to have the first meeting.
She's persistent.
Well, it's a lot of fun to have activity and staff and funding to get things done. Supervisor?
Chris Brown came to New Lebanon's housing meeting as well, and he is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Thank you to the task force for choosing him, and the CEDC for sharing the towns.
Well, it's a lot of exciting stuff going on. I did have the opportunity to go to Cohoes for the announcement of Kinderhook, and Mayor Abrams was there with his family and other members of the community, Renee Schur, and people who worked hard on that project. And I think I got a call from the Adirondacks, Bill Farber from up in Hamilton County, for their 4,000 people saying, we want to learn what you're doing down there because it seems like you're getting a lot of activity. And tonight was special. I had never met Bill Fisher in person. I've only met him by email and on the phone. So when you had your executive session, Jessica and I had a chance to visit with him. And, the work that he does for ensuring that there's fair housing as well as affordable housing. There's a great synergy, and it was a great conversation. Thank you.
Okay, well, Mike, you had sent me an email regarding Kirk Neller,
Yes.
not being able to serve on the housing committee because of time constraints. Mike is reaching back out to the hospital because we specifically put Kirk on because of his relationship with the hospital. And, some of their issues in terms of attracting employees as housing. So
The other good news is our annual meeting, and you'll get a reminder in the next few days so we can get it on your calendar, is Tuesday, April 25th at 7:30 to 9 at Kozel's. And Dr. Dorothy Birchall, the new president of Columbia Memorial Hospital, is going to be the keynote speaker. And her topic will be the intersection of healthcare, housing, and workforce.
thanks, Mike.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Take that.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.